Hey, welcome. Today, we're diving into something really cool, a vocabulary of progress. We're going to unlock a set of words that don't just describe positive change, they can actually help us think about how to create it. You've been there, right? You're trying to talk about a new idea or maybe a success you worked really hard for, and you're just grasping for the right word. You know what you mean, but you just can't nail the description? Well, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely in the right place. So instead of just giving you a boring vocabulary list, we're going to tell a story. We're going to use these 20 words to trace the entire life of an idea, from that very first little spark all the way to a huge, celebrated success. All right, let's start where every great idea begins, right at the beginning. This first part of our journey is all about how ideas are born and, how we can nurture them in those very early, fragile moments. Okay, so first up, an idea in its earliest stage is nascent. It's brand new, just starting to take shape, full of potential. But of course, a nascent idea needs help, right? You have to cultivate it, actively work on it, grow it. And when you do that, you engender something new. You actually cause a new feeling or situation to come into being. See that flow? It starts nascent, you cultivate it, and you engender a result. And here's that idea in action. The nascent or brand new project to clean the park did more than just get rid of litter. It engendered a whole new feeling of community. This is a perfect example of how a tiny beginning can create a really big, meaningful change. Of course, progress is never that easy, is it? It's never just a straight line. You're going to hit roadblocks, you're going to have disagreements. So, our next batch of words are the tools you need to get through those challenges, to smooth things over, make things right, and just keep things moving forward. So when you hit a snag, you've got options. You can mitigate a problem, which means you make it less severe. You can mollify a person, which is all about calming them down when they're angry or anxious, or you could take an Emollient approach, which is all about softening and soothing the entire situation. Now, this is a really crucial difference. You mitigate the problem, but you mollify the person. So let's say there's a huge risk in your project plan. Your job is to mitigate that risk. But if your boss is furious about it, well, then you need to mollify your boss. It's a small distinction, but it's super powerful. And a great way to mollify someone is with a conciliatory tone or gesture. This is what you do when you want to end a fight. It basically signals, hey, I'm willing to meet you in the middle to make peace. Like extending an olive branch, that's a conciliatory move. Now, when we actually mess up, we have to make it right. To compensate is to make up for a loss. Pretty straightforward. But expiate? Wow. That one goes way deeper. It means to truly atone for something you did wrong, for guilt. It has a much heavier moral weight than just compensation. Okay, so we've navigated the challenges, we've made things right, and now we get to the breakthrough. This is the part of the story about unity. About that moment when everyone finally gets on the same page and you can actually celebrate a real success. And here it is, the payoff. Look at this clear path. First, you find Concord. That's a state of harmony. From that harmony, you build a consensus where everybody in the group generally agrees. That agreement leads you to the culmination, the absolute peak of the project. And for that awesome achievement, you get kudos. What a great progression. And while getting kudos is awesome, that spontaneous great job from your team, a commendation is a little different. It's more formal, more official. So think of kudos as a high five and a commendation as an actual award or a plaque. Both are fantastic, but they just operate on different levels. And to really appreciate that culmination, that big win, you usually have to immerse yourself in the work. It means you go all in, you dive deep, you get completely lost in it. Real success is rarely just a surface-level thing. We did it, we've reached the goal, the hard work is over, but what does that actually feel like? Our final group of words is all about capturing those incredibly powerful, positive emotions that come with a big win. Just look at these amazing words for pure joy. You can be elated, which is that over-the-moon, on cloud nine feeling. You can be ebullient, just bursting with positive, cheerful energy. Or you can be jubilant, which is that specific, triumphant kind of happiness that comes directly from a success. They're all different shades of awesome. And here's where it all comes together. The team was jubilant. They were filled with that triumphant joy. After the culmination, or peak, of their project earned them an official commendation. See how these words all stack up to tell a much richer, more complete story? And let's not forget that behind every big success, there's often fervid support. This isn't just regular excitement, it's that intense, almost burning passion for an idea. It's the fuel that gets projects like these across the finish line. But let's be real for a second. Not every single effort ends in a huge, jubilant success. And for those times, there's consolation. It's the comfort you get after a loss or a disappointment. And in its own way, it's a word of hope, too, because it acknowledges a setback while giving you a way to feel better and move on. And there you have it, 20 powerful words. When you put them all together, they give us a language to map out that entire journey of positive change, from a tiny, fragile idea to a massive success. But here's the most important thing I want you to take away from this. These aren't just words to memorize for a test. They're tools. They're tools that will help you think more clearly about what progress actually looks like and help you express your own great ideas with so much more impact. So we've really covered the whole story, haven't we? We started with a nascent idea, we used words like mitigate and mollify to get through the tough spots, we built consensus to reach a culmination, and we felt jubilant in the end. You've basically got a whole narrative toolkit for progress now. So, I'll leave you with this question. Now that you have these words, what story of progress are you ready to tell? In your own life, in your work, in your community, what positive change will you describe first? Thanks for joining me.